Cup and handle patterns are common. We all see that in different assets. Just when it comes on XRP, naysayers enter. Fine. But if you do understand this, then you likely understand what's coming ahead. Because here, if the trend we had before was strong, then you're going to see larger continuation movement. That's important here. Because if it was short trend, you get smaller one. But if it was stronger one, now you're going to get even larger. So that means you're going to measure this and put it here, but still most likely the target is going to be even higher, or the price can go even higher than the target. Fine. Now you take this measured move and plot it, you see like, okay, 24 is kind of what we are looking at. Let's be conservative, say like, okay, 70 to 80% of the target. 20 is still going to be a great choice. But there will be people who still will stay. Like that's just 13x. But look at where the price is right now. So if you are entering that asset right now, that kind of gives you a long way till the conservative target to the bottom here, say $19, $20, you still make 50x. And if you are looking for the target, it's even higher. So being conservative, from here, XRP can literally give you a 50x on the conservative side. Now, yes, the general market has a lot to say. When you are looking at the XRP in last 3 days, it didn't do much. It's still there, confusing, slow. All those stuff is still the same. Now, medium term, you're looking for a movement. We understand that. But general market here is moving up. So if you are following the market, some of them are correcting after a run up. But if you focus on those coins which are doing well, it's not one or two coins. If you are looking at top 100, you have a lot of them doing well. Then you move on to the next one. 100 to 200, you still have a lot of them doing well. So if you are in this market, you do have a lot of opportunities. So if you are focused on this one, you now know that you are moving like this. The history is repeating. We've highlighted this even before. Now, if you go back and look like what we were talking before, like these are days when the market is going down, negative sentiment is at the peak, and it's really hard to say like, okay, we are at the support. That means most likely we're going to bounce from here. And then what happens? The market shows that it is bouncing from that range of support. So if you are in this market right now, you do have to understand that there's a lot of things which is happening, but this is coming in your way. So if that is true and you are in the market and you're waiting for this breakout and you see it breaking out, what are you really going to do? Are you going to take part in this big wealth transfer? Because it's not only retail right now, you are going to observe huge institutions taking big role. So when they are taking in this big role, yes, manipulation will be at its peak. You're going to see a lot of volatility for sure. There's no doubt in that. But once you understand how the fundamentals change or evolve, that's all it actually matters if you are an investor. So one, technicals, that is like you are looking for the price action to understand this, right? Because when you zoom out, you see like, okay, 50x, how can you even say that? Fine, you just zoom out and ask this question to yourself. If the textbook pattern suggests to you that you have a strong trend like this, you go higher like this, a larger continuation movement. So it can be even bigger than what we are talking about here, because if you put that thing in the perspective, yes, it's just the measured move there, but the total trend can be even higher. It will still go up. Now, there will be, for sure, we will have corrections in between, and that's part of the process. It's not like, we are not going to get those corrections. If you get this pattern here, you're going to play this out, then you break higher. Fine. But once you do, in between, on a daily, on a 4-hour chart, you're going to see a lot of manipulation. Now, that's like institutions, when we go up, they push it too high. When we go down, they push it too low with algorithms. Fine. So you go on a daily chart, you're like, okay, now I don't really understand. We are this low, we are staying here, we're not moving up. Fine, but if you are looking at this asset on a time frame like this, yes, your momentum was to the downside. Now you're waiting literally to see whether you're breaking to the upside or you're breaking to the downside. But right now, you're at this range. It's a decision making area. But the general market suggests that it is moving higher. Fine. So you go into the altcoin market, which we look generally almost all the day to see what the market is bringing towards us. It does look a long way bullish. Why? One, it's at the support. Two, whenever it's coming down or the sellers are trying to push the market down, buyers enter and absorb all those supply. So that for me is like, okay, the market is still having higher demand and at this range. Now at this range, when you see demand, it's not the normal retail investors for sure. It's either whales or long-term investor or the smart money. Because most retailers FOMO in once you go higher. Once you break through this, they're like, okay, the trend just changed. Let me jump in. And that's something you can try, but that's not something advisable, right? If you are looking at this, you're like, okay, you buy at a support, you sell at a resistance, or when you feel like it's turning into a bubble. Fine. So here on a weekly chart, whenever you see the price topping out, you get to know that in the RSI, in the MACD, they kind of give you that signal. So here, the price is at the bottom. It was just starting to move back up, and you understood something is changing. If you are looking at the price, you do understand that. Right now, what we are waiting for is similar signal, but we are about to break higher. And I don't think anyone is going to deny the fact that we are near this resistance trying to break higher. And the price is at the support, not at a resistance. Because usually what happens is when your indicators are at a resistance and the price is also close to a resistance, price can get rejected. But when the price is at the support and bouncing and the resistance is already at a major resistance level, so now the RSI can break that resistance. So now, yeah, it actually seems a little bit easy if you are looking like, okay, something is changing after a long period of time. Then the question is, what was happening in the market during that period? It was a consolidation after a run up. So what's changing? We're at the bottom, we are bouncing, we're trying to break higher. So on a 3-day chart, you kind of go in, you look at this like, okay, we are breaking higher. That's a good news. That's a great news. Fine. Then what are you waiting for? When the market is showing you opportunities, you can be cautious. Great. But once that opportunity is gone, you can actually say like, I missed that. Because you're observing this right now, that means you are here in the market and you actually do see the opportunities here. And if the technicals, the textbook patterns, and this happens in all different assets, you can't say no to this. One, the fundamentals are getting stronger. It's even. Everyone, the banks, institutions, and everyone right now understand the fundamentals of this asset. So you can deny this as an investor if you are a maximalist on another asset. But that doesn't make sense if you are looking at these. It's not just the retail investors who are bringing in money right now. Right now in this market, it's getting so interesting that we are getting big guys entering here as we bounce off from the support. Not when we wait the resistance. So if you are here looking at this price action, looking at everything happening in the market, take that decision right now. Because if you delay yourself, maybe in a month or two, you're going to miss a lot of dry powder at the bottom. Imagine you have $10,000 to buy something or $1,000 to buy something. At this price, you may get, say, if that asset is $1, you may get 1,000 units. But when it is at $2, you lose that purchasing power. So take the decisions wisely and try to focus on the market. Now, if you break this market into detail, say short term, what we are looking at on a daily, what we are looking for next, say 2 days towards 2 weeks, it gets a lot of noisy, but at least you can look at that and say, okay, I kind of understand like, okay, the market may do this, right? And that's what we're going to do. So stick till the end and we're going to do that. Recently, I noticed like the views are lower, but the likes and the percentage of that is actually great. So those who are here are learning, and those who come here are here for value. And I appreciate that. So guys, who are here is here for a reason. And as the market goes up back to those range, make sure you are in different assets, not just in one asset. Now, I am an XRP maximalist in one way, but I'm an investor, right? You are here as an investor. So I'm trying to give you that real perspective where you're not only in one asset, because this market consists of thousands of assets. I'm not taking, kind of giving you that idea to go into all different sorts of assets. I'm saying if you look at this market on last 30 days, you see a lot of them doing good numbers, right? So if you are in one of them, you make money. But choosing that one precisely from the pool of 20,000 assets is going to be nearly impossible unless you are, super bought. But if you have at least 5 or 10 assets where you kind of manage them, now you have a lot of opportunities. So if you are here on last quarter, you're observing like a lot of these assets are doing wonders, and they're just starting for this bull market, because on the quarter you see this, they're starting off, they're taking off, and then you're looking for the macro, it's just starting. And that's what we really are looking at, right? The macro bull run bouncing from here 50, 100x. But right now, if you're just in one asset, we really don't know when it's going to bounce. So taking that into account, if you are going to go through this, try looking at medium to small cap assets with some kind of fundamentals, not just meme coins, right? So you look at those assets and you're like, okay, do they have some kind of fundamentals? Then you can go long on it. Now, if you're trading, okay, fine. It's completely based on the technicals. You zoom in, and if you're observing a pattern here, say for example, on this XRP chart on a 12-hour, right now you are saying like, okay, the price is slowly making higher highs and higher lows. So it's slowly trying to put a new trend. But the issue, what we see here is that the RSI is slowly cooling down. So unless we break higher here in the RSI, that doesn't actually look so much bullish. But it is a symmetrical pennant here, so you need to either break to the upside or downside. Now, everyone knows that. But the difference is having the patience to see whether it's breaking to the upside or to the downside. So for XRP, what you're looking at is this pattern. And if we don't get momentum, if we don't get so much bullish news, we may still break to the downside. Now, XRP does that all the time. When the market goes up, this guy is slow. But when the market enters into that euphoric state, that's when we actually saw XRP moving. So you come here, it's one of the easy part for you to do. Like the biggest run in XRP happened in between here, Jan towards April 2021. So you go look at the market to get that perspective, and that's here, Jan 2021 towards March, April. So here, what you can observe is like, okay, just ask the question like, total run up in that market was how much? 35x. Great. So the total run up of the market since Jan was how much? 400%. So you get the idea here. The market did 35x, but XRP joined the party in the last 5x. Fine. But did XRP do just 5x? That's a huge question for every one of you to answer. No, it did higher than that. It did more than double that. So if you are here, you do understand it takes part in the market cycle, but the problem is it's always last to that party. So if you are here, you need a ton of patience, and that's what XRP is always known about. It tests your patience to that point, and only a few are gonna make it. Imagine we are gonna do this number, but ask this question, will you be still there in this asset? When it actually breaks higher from here, test this range. Yeah, if you are trading, if you have trading bags, you're definitely taking profits. We've been taking profits moving out of one asset, moving into another asset. Why? Because this market is showing a lot of opportunities. And as I'm closing a position, I'm taking that screenshot, dropping that into the alerts. When I'm buying a position, I'm informing, like I'm taking this much in this asset, and I'm waiting for something to happen to enter more. All those scenarios I'm posting this. So if we want those kind of updates as we enter into this major macro bull run, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, jumping back into this, fine, you now understand, okay, this guy is really slow, and you can actually see like highly correlated assets a day, and they kind of show you something similar. They are also slow. They're trying to break higher. They broke higher, but they're not getting much of momentum. So now if you are in this market and you're asking like, okay, these are like the fundamental assets, and you don't really see these guys getting a lot of momentum, you're like, okay, that's really hard to digest, right? And that's why when you go to assets like say ETC, where you are looking at these, if you remember last time we bought this around $5.5, and that went all the way up to 160. Now, yeah, we took at 120, not at 160. Catching the exact top is going to be really hard. But the actual point here right now is that the market is showing something is changing. If you are here, and this is going to be an opportunity for you. For all the viewers, this is going to be an opportunity. So in my opinion, I'm like, okay, this actually shows the breakout. The target is just around 200%, fine. So that actually takes you all the way up to $100. Right now it's at 40. So if you are a trader, now we are most likely going in to look like, okay, let me look at what's happening right now, not the macro pattern. You're a short-term guy, right? So you zoom in and you're looking for like, okay, what's happening? For any trader, you're familiar with pattern, you look at this like, okay, this is kind of a cup and handle pattern evolving, but most likely as it actually broke higher this level, that's just going to be a rounded bottom, right? So cup and handle or Adam and Eve, all of these are rounded bottom patterns. So here, as you broke higher, now the easiest thing for you to do is take the measurement, that's 25% to the upside. So you actually plot that and you read some make loose like this, $50. So that's short term. So if you are doing that, that's actually fine. You can take up trades for a week, a month, you get those targets, that's all great. But if you zoom out and look at the macro, that's where the actual opportunity lies. So now you're like, okay, this trend is actually changing. Meaning you actually did this consolidation, you did that, that's all good, that's all great. But you did that after what? So that is a big question. You run higher like this, then you do consolidate like this, then you start another bull run going sky high. Now again, you do this, you consolidate, and then you start going up. So in this bull market, this is one of the biggest questions. Now this is not XRP. Understand? This is not XRP, but still it shows you that the market is about to do something big. This one shows you like, okay, the market went up first, and then it dropped heavily. So here it did 6x, and then what happened? The market actually dropped 80%. So in this cycle, if you're observing this right now, you just had around 90% correction first time in this cycle. So in most of the assets, when you follow, you actually see 70, 80, 90% correction twice. So wave 1, wave 2, and then you go into wave 3. After which you go into the real bear market. So if you consider this as a painful stuff, as a bear market, believe me, the next real bear market is going to kill you mentally. So you don't want to be in that position. What you really want to do here is to understand, okay, this is coming up, which is the wave 2, and wave 2 is usually monstrous compared to wave 1. So if you are getting positioned well enough, and you see like, okay, wave 2 is just starting for these assets, like, okay, there can be delays, meaning you see this, there is a breakout, now you do that, it still takes like somewhere like a month or a half. If you put that into perspective of days, let's measure that. After you go up once, 2 months you're consolidating, and then, now that's interesting. Next 100 days, 3 months, you do this major run up. So if you are here observing this right now, in a year time, maybe 6 months, you are done. Wave 2 is done. Now what happens? You're going to go down again 70, 80%. So if you're in the market right now observing this is going to be a life-changing opportunity for you. Take that benefit. Because this does not come every now and then. We waited for like 4 years to be in such a position, to accumulate, wait, have that patience, educate ourselves. Now you have that opportunity. You look at the market and you are like, okay, this is going to happen. I do understand there's a possibility. There's a huge odds out there, and most likely the next bull run is going to be even larger than the last one. So putting that into perspective, it's so simple for you to go back and look at XRP on a macro chart and ask like, okay, last run up in that trend, what was the actual run up? Like 700x. Fine. So next big run up, when it actually happens, consider from the bottom. Don't actually go euphoric taking it from the measured move. Go target that from the bottom. If you take those, you are reaching 700 is kind of $200. Now, if it's even larger, then maybe 900, maybe 1,000, who knows? But those are big numbers. It actually feels like, you're crazy, you're nuts. But if you try to connect these resistance, now it feels like, okay, even if you do that, you're not reaching that level of resistance. So it's not just about the 50x move here. It is about a macro bull run coming in. But if you are a trader who's trading the market, now you really want to know where to take profits in between. And if you're a guy with much patience, now these targets are just targets for you. You don't have the time to wait through. But if you are that guy, I'm impatient, but I can put that impatient human being aside and wait patiently. Great. Now we have the opportunity to take these numbers as you go up. Proper strategies, proper exits, you take your profits out, average up. So that's how you actually make money. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so. And if you want updates on which asset I buy, where I buy, and what I see in different assets where they are breaking higher, what their targets are and all, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.